Yeah, and it's easier to make a change before you open than after. Now you're going to lower your rates because you're going to have problems with people staying there. You're going to get complaints. It's going to hurt your reviews. And so it's going to cost more, even if it's the same cost. It just costs more. You only get to show everybody your product for the first time once.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, we got someone who's a repeat guest, someone who I'm a big fan of, someone who's doing big things out here in San Diego. I got my man, Andrew Greer. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me in.
Dude, appreciate you coming back, man. You look fucking amazing. You've been working out. Clearly, you look great, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I just switched things up, decided I didn't want to get old.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, right? I always think like all these things that we do to better our lives, whether it's through real estate investing or business and family mindset, all these things, it's like, you realize at a certain point, it's like none of this matters if I don't have my health. But dude, you look fucking amazing, dude. What have you been doing?
Really just a lot of Orange Theory, actually. I
Really?
love Orange Theory. It's easy because I step in there for an hour. They tell me what to do, and then I leave. And then just managing your diet, stuff like that, eating healthier, and then every supplement you can imagine I've basically gone through.
What subs are you taking?
So I'm doing NAD every day right now.
What's that?
So it's a really long name, but it helps with your telomeres. So like your cell life. So cell regeneration, all that jazz. Awesome stuff. Makes you feel amazing. Then curcumin, resveratrol, and then
What's that stuff?
That's like makes my joints feel like there's liquid in them. Put it that way. That's like the easiest way to
Are you
explain.
taking testosterone?
No testosterone. So I do like a support, which is like basically Moxit, like magnesium, zinc, all that jazz. But I have good levels, so I haven't done it.
You've tested though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah, a lot of my podcast guests come on, and the ones that look really good, they all tell me like, yeah, they're on it, they're on the tee, and they all tell me they're like, dude, like it's a game changer. You got to get on it, and I know it's in the cards for me, probably like in my 40s. Right now, I feel great, like my energy. I'm getting natural gains in the gym every day, and I feel really dialed. But I think another reason why I'm hesitant is because I know once I get on the tee, I gotta do two, not one injection a week, but two, because otherwise you get the ups and the downs. So that's 2 injections a week. So that's a lot. And then I'm if I'm traveling or whatever, then it's like I got to do that. So that's one of the reasons that I am kind of like gonna wait. And then also like once you start, like you're doing it for the rest of your life. You're never gonna come off of it.
Yeah, that's my approach is once I start, I'm in, and if I can hold it off as long as possible, because I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
I would
Are
like
you?
to hold it off. Yeah.
I thought you were like 38.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You look 38. How old are you if you don't?
41.
41. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple years up there. So, yeah, man, I think it's definitely in the cards for me, and I definitely will do it at some point. I'm just gonna try to hold off maybe another like 4 or 5 years, but I do know it's in the back pocket. It's funny because some people tell me on the flip side, this is the other argument. They say, hey, enjoy it now while you have good health, while you're young. There's no guarantee that you're gonna be in good health anyways, or even be around in 10 years. So why not enjoy it now while you're still young, you have good energy, and you can go do all this stuff. And so I understand that argument too. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of like a personal choice on when you want to dip. It's like a lot of things, because time isn't guaranteed.
That's true. That's true. So you were on episode 52, so it's been a little bit. And what the fuck have you been up to, man?
Dude, just jamming along, doing some projects. We were talking about my homes in Mission Hills that I was under construction. I just came from there to do my right-of-way inspection, and I should have my certificate of occupancy tomorrow.
C of O tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's go.
so very pumped about that. So that's been like looming over my head because I've actually sold 2 of those properties and about to put the 3rd one up, and just crushed on the numbers on that one. So very happy there. So I've been working on that, and then just started construction about 2.5 weeks ago on my little pocket community I'm doing in National City. So this is a super unique project, like very different.
I remember this is the one on the podcast. It was like very early in the works. Yeah.
We probably talked about it. I would think we did. It was in permitting. So this one is 8 3-bedroom, 2 baths, which is very unusual for San Diego right now, but that's like our path. And these units are actually pre-manufactured. So I'm grading the site, building the site, and then we'll ship them in. So for lack of a better word, they're literally manufactured homes, but I turn them into real property through permitting them and getting basically a 433A. that allows you to have a engineered foundation in place. And this is my second time doing it now. My favorite property I own currently is my first pocket community. It just crushes money-wise. And this is going to be our second one. And it's kind of a game changer. And there's a lot actually coming to the market in this right now, in this design aspect. So we're doing that one right now, launching that one. And then additionally, like those units, you can actually take those and drop those as ADUs. So I saw an opportunity.
So these are 3-bedroom, 2-bath ADUs?
Yeah. So
Really?
So this is technically an apartment. It's a cottage, but the same unit can be an ADU.
And the rents are the same as what you would get for a 3-bedroom single family, essentially?
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing for the apartment world. We do better than a regular apartment.
Really? How does that work?
So here's the upside downside of it. Downside, I can't build as many units on a lot because they don't touch. They have all their spacing for fire, all of that. So I can't build 40 units on a lot. You know, I can put 8 or 10. Upside, especially when we were dealing with COVID, when we did our first one, they don't share any walls. It's like a tenant has their own home. So noise complaints, issues like that just go away. And then additionally, once you build the foundation and set your utilities, we literally back them in, stitch them, and then finish the inside materials. It takes about 2 weeks from the time they're landed to the time they're approved. And since they're state approved product, we don't get inspected on the interior of the home at all.
Wow.
It trumps the city.
So you're getting the C of O, certificate of occupancy, really quickly from the time you get the permits.
Yeah.
How long is that period?
So this project end to end from permit to C of O should be 5 months.
Wow.
So, and it would usually be 11 to 12.
And a lot of punch list items probably in between there.
A ton of punch list and a ton of bureaucracy can step in. The nice thing is the state has a bigger stamp than everybody else. So whatever they say goes. Only thing they inspect for me is my site layout and then my fire connection on the out. They don't even test my sprinklers on the inside of the house. They only do my inspection, my connection point, because that's the only piece that I built.
So I'm curious because, you know, when you build ground up, you're gonna spend anywhere from $250 a foot on the very low end to, you know, as upwards as $450, even $500 a foot, depending on the you know, the elements and the design that you put in, the finishes, the quality there. But how much are you spending on these all in?
All in on these is
And this is not including the land.
Yeah, it's your construction right around 150.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit less.
This is less than half of what you would spend on doing a similar build out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it depends because you can really upgrade it. The other thing too is site conditions. Somebody has very difficult site conditions. There's costs there. This one ends up a little bit lower. And the reason why is because there's 8 of them going on one lot. So all the work is split up across 8 units. So this is like a big thing that we're pushing now for ADUs is we can drop these in backyards and do it. And I saw this when we did it. So I sell these.
You sell these now?
I'm a dealer now.
Really?
I carry a dealer's license for
Dude, I might be
California.
interested. Okay, so what's the if you do the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, is it more than one story or all in single story?
All single story.
Got it. So you need a lot of land to do this.
You need a lot of land.
Okay.
So this is a 20,000 square foot lot. It's a big lot
Yeah.
that I'm putting 8 units on.
Dude, that's pretty unique, man. So 150 a foot, maybe a little bit less all in. And depending on the neighborhood, you might be capturing on a much bigger than delta than that. Because some of these neighborhoods comp out at, you know, $800 a foot, maybe even 1,000, depending on where you are. So if you think about that, especially at scale, you're forcing a lot of appreciation there. And then from an aesthetic standpoint, you know, curb appeal wise, does this look just like a single family home?
Dude, so so the first ones didn't. Now what we've done is we have them shipped without siding on them. So they're wrapped. We stucco them on arrival. So we actually stucco them so they look real. And then we get permits to actually build decks and patios and stuff off of the homes and then do different like cornices and stuff on the front of the building. So now it shows up, it looks like a manufactured home. $15,000 to $20,000 later, it looks like a cottage.
Wow.
It's a game changer.
Dude, I got to pull these up. Are these on your Instagram?
I don't have any pictures of them up now. there used to be on Facebook, it might still be, I haven't been on Facebook in forever. It was an aerial shot on my first one, was like my, whatever that main highlight image was an aerial shot. But yeah, this is, it's really cool.
And what does the interior of these properties look like? Like, kind of give me a overview of the layout, the floor plan, and then also like what is the quality of the finishes, especially in the kitchen and the bathrooms?
Yeah, so they're gonna get delivered with, the cabinets are gonna be fine. You know, countertops are gonna be Formica, so we generally switch those out to a granite or a quartzite, and then they get delivered with laminate. We rip that out and put in luxury vinyl plank. But as far as like your knobs, your doors, your every other fixture, it's gonna be very like, call it builder grade, off the shelf, like Lemon Grove, Spring Valley quality. That's what's going to come. So we upgrade the flooring, we upgrade the countertops, make sure that's all good. But outside of that, it's very clean, and it's a really compact design because they're 947 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2 baths. So you walk in straight into living. Directly across from you is a L-shaped kitchen. That off the back side is a laundry room. So we have laundry in each unit. Master on the right-hand side of the door with a master bath that goes behind the laundry. Other side, you have your bathroom tucked in behind the kitchen, and then your 2 bedrooms on the left. No hallways, no lost space, nothing excess. It's just all right there. But it works really well for like that working class, blue collar, like National City, like family, multi-generational living. It's a perfect property for that.
Wow. And tell me about the exit strategy. So like, obviously you can operate this probably as, I mean, you could refi and keep it and operate it all as one, multifamily property, but do you have the option to also, individually parcel off all these cottages and sell them off individually?
So with AB 1033, if National City adopts it, so it's the option to allow that, not the requirement to do it. If they allow that, I will have the ability to do that. Our plan is to hold everything. So we're holding the other pocket community. We're already set this one up. The plan is to hold it, and it becomes kind of a land bank. So if we're in this property and I hold it for 10 to 15 years, let's say, and I own this large parcel down in National City, and I have 2 of them. One's 22,000 square feet. One is 20,000 square feet. I can actually take those units off that parcel and build another building in the future and not have lost my value. I don't have to tear down a home. If the zoning changes, if the values change, I think National City has a huge amount of upside. I'd say more than even like Logan. I love the location. From this property itself, standing on the ground, you have views of downtown San Diego and the Coronado Bridge. And it's in a nice little neighborhood.
I was just down in National City last night for a kid that I volunteer with. His name is Isaac. Shout out to Isaac. But I've been volunteering with him since he was 9, and he's 14 now. He just had his middle school graduation at, what was the name of the high school? I forget the name of the high school, but it was down there in National City. I remember it's a football field. I'm up in the stands. I remember looking behind me. I'm like, you got views of the downtown skyline. You could see the Coronado Bridge. I'm like, this ain't too shabby.
Yeah, you're 3 blocks away from our site.
Okay.
At that school. So, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, how many, you said, is it 8 properties or more?
That's 8 units there.
8 units there. Okay. That's a pretty cool little pocket community, man. And then is there like I imagine a lot of these families that rent there probably have kids. Is there like a little area where they can kind of run around?
Yeah, so this one's actually designed off a flag lot. So you pull off the street, you go in and you make a right and you're in the community. So we have 12 parking spots inside and 8 parking spots out. So from the front unit going back all the way, all 8 units, you're basically in like a space where people can play, do their own thing. It's fully gated, fully fenced, and it's designed for like families to like live there because there's no street traffic. There's none of that there. It's like a nice off-street, really quiet little spot. So we will definitely most likely get families there. We get a lot of military too. So a lot of military guys, like we had one unit that had like 4 dudes in like a 3-bedroom because they're like, we're going to use our BAH and keep our money on the sides. That way we can like keep saving up. So I was sitting there talking to him about VA loans. trying to get him to buy a property too. But
That's funny.
yeah, so we'll definitely it'll be a definite community for sure.
Last question I have about this is, can you utilize this, or maybe you plan on doing this in more of a expensive neighborhood, maybe something like Bay Park, or something like that? What are your thoughts there?
Yes, you can utilize it. Downside is if I can build 8 of these with the zoning right now, I might be able to build 45 units with San Diego's code.
Because you can go up.
Yeah. So
Okay, got it. So maybe just for ADU in the backyard?
yeah, you definitely. So we're doing that right now. So that's happening a lot, and it's the access to it and being able to take the materials of the home and put them on the exterior and make it look the same is like right there. It's
Yeah.
it's
I got a
really
question
cool.
about that. So let's just say that, maybe a listener out here, listen to this right now, bought a single family home, and it had a large lot. They put one of these 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 900 square foot prefab homes out there. You did the whole stucco thing and made it look legit. What is the appraiser going to look at that, or how is he going to or she view that from a appraisal standpoint? Are they going to give you the full valuation as if it was built from the ground up, or are they going to give you some sort of discount valuation?
So it'd be interesting to see how they appraise it. So everyone I've done myself is commercial.
Right, because they're just looking at mostly the income.
Yeah. So like, what's your income? DSCR loans.
Yeah.
They really don't care. They actually didn't even look. And in fact, the appraiser didn't realize they were manufactured, but we licensed them as real property. So once you license them as real property,
They wouldn't really know.
they don't really know.
Yeah.
And it's actually not different in the code. Would they lower the value of it? I would think they would take off something, but we haven't seen it yet. They haven't done that to us. But I also saw like a stick build in Bay Park. It was a 1,200 square foot ADU, and the appraiser gave it a value of $50,000
Well, really?
with a garage with a 1-car parking
50
spot.
grand?
And I was like, it makes more than that in a year.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So the appraisers are coming up to speed from like the sales side and like how they track data. Now when we go in the MLS and we market stuff, we have an ADU box. So Fannie and Freddie can start getting that data. So I think we're going to get better information. But we don't have like a manufactured or stick built or modular button on that. So I don't think they're going to rate that yet. It's only going to be if it's real property.
Dude, so I got to thank you, man. I know it's Tommy's on my team. We were looking at a project out, I believe that was in Mission Hills, and you came out and take a look at it. It had a big lot, and it was on a canyon. And I know it had potential zoning for more units, but I'm glad you came out and looked at it. Ultimately, that kind of a grade is going to be super expensive to build on. Probably cause a lot of problems down the road too, possibly. So appreciate you taking a look at that.
And we had to jump a fence.
Oh yeah. The leasing agent didn't come out, or not the leasing agent, the listing agent didn't come out.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they didn't show. So we just
didn't
jumped the
show,
fence.
yeah.
We figured it out.
Yeah. We had looked at that property once, and I was like, it's cool. I just didn't know, like, the zoning you could do a lot of units. My biggest concern was the grade, but my other concern was, it's kind of a funky layout, right? You drive down this steep driveway, and then there's like this 7-bedroom mansion on the hill. And it's like, well, what is this 7-bedroom luxury home going to look like with apartment building right next to it? So it's kind of a funky like layout from an aesthetic standpoint. So I'm glad that you came out and kind of provided some good insight for us, give us a little bit of clarity there.
Yeah, and it was a weird one too because it felt like you were gonna hit the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just seen
coming
that.
down the driveway.
Yeah, it was like you were driving straight into the house, and you had to go left or right. It was really weird.
Yeah.
So they sold that place, I think.
Did they?
Finally,
It traded?
Yeah. But
I wonder how much they had to
took
discount
another
it for.
$200K discount. They had already done $200K, I think, when we went, and it was I think 175 or 165.
Wow,
which is pretty cheap.
that's a great deal for a lot of,
So, but it was just right neighborhood, worst spot.
Yeah. And by the way, you mentioned that, I know you got your monthly meetup. I got to get out there. What's it called? Brewery.
Yeah.
Brewery. Great meetup. I've been before. And you mentioned that you guys are going to do some sort of summer bash on the water. Tell me about that.
Yeah. We have Summer Bash coming up. It's on the water at Dana Landing on June 20th from 5:30 to 7:30. If you want to check it out, it's free to attend. You just have to RSVP so we can track everybody. But we're giving out drink tickets, everything. Realestatecheatcodes.com. You can RSVP there. We'd love to have everyone out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just networking. We got food trucks. We got the boats there from Freedom Boat Club. It's going to be a blast.
That's cool, man. I like the concept. I'll definitely have to check it out. And then speaking of events, man, I think we're gonna throw a holiday party. You're gonna throw a holiday party. We're in the works. I had this idea a few days ago, but it's already in the works. So I'm gonna announce it right now. We are gonna be doing a Summer's Capital holiday party. We always do one every year in this office, and this year I'm like, you know what? Let's rent out the Broadway Pier here in downtown San Diego. Let's fill this thing up. Let's pack the house. Let's bring out 1,200, 1,500 people, and let's bring a performer. We're in talks with some people. Possibly Ja Rule is going to come out and perform, and we're going to give away a Mercedes-Benz. So excited for that. We'll bring all the investors, all the mastermind members from our communities, all the people in our social circle here in San Diego, all the people that come to our meetups, podcast listeners, you guys and gals are all invited. So come out. It's going to be this December. We haven't announced the date or details yet, but we're going to announce it soon. It's already summertime. I'm like, for an event like that, you got to get it out there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to be the new annual thing.
That's going to be a blast. I'm so pumped in having another killer like event set up for like the Broadway Pier, which is like just such a San Diego location. And I know that you always do everything right. So it's going to be a party.
It will definitely be a party, and we'll give away some money to charity to make it a fun thing, but excited for that. Dude, so, for the listeners that maybe didn't listen to the first episode you were on, give us a little breakdown of the ADU play and kind of how you see that as an opportunity right now. I believe it's like, I just had Thatch on, and he's like, dude, this is the fucking opportunity right now. And all these expensive markets on the West Coast, it's building ADUs, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and why you think it's a big opportunity.
So as a developer that's been doing this for a while, we always run our heads against the wall trying to get units. And with the ADU play, especially here in San Diego, in more areas now in California, we can actually take ADUs and make them into MDUs, which is a multi-dwelling unit, and build out up to max FAR. So you have a property, I'll break down a couple words. FAR is floor area ratio. So if you have a 10,000 square foot lot, you have a 2.7 FAR. That means you can build 27,000 square feet of building. With the code, if that falls into the SDA, which is the Sustainable Development Area, that means you can build that many square feet and then chop it into as many units as you want. Where previously, your zoning would be, hey, you can build 1 unit per every 1,000 square feet a lot. So that would be, say, in that zoning, and this is just hypothetical, 27 units. Well, if you build your ADUs at 600 square feet, that means that you're going to get a 40% increase in your density right there. You're going to do some moderate or low income variant on it for every other unit for a 10 to 15 year period.
What does that mean?
That means that, so in San Diego, we have our area median income going from the border to Carlsbad. They take the average income, and if you're low income, it's going to be 60% of that average income, and then you can pay 30% of that annualized on your unit. So my 1 bedroom that is low income right now, I believe I'm at $1,937. It's not really that cheap.
No.
So it's still great. And it's based on bedroom count. So you have to do that on that property for 10 or 15 years, depending upon if you want to go 60% or if you want to go 80%, which is moderate income, which is going to be a higher number. You're going to do that, but you're going to have to guarantee that for 15 years. After 10 or 15 years, you can rent it for whatever you want. You lose all of your requirements for guidance with the city, all of that. Where in apartments, my agreement is 55 years. So I have to hold my moderate, low income or very low income units for 55 years. In this strategy, I hold it for less. Additionally, the permit process, the approval process doesn't have all of the same red tape. Now, the first time I was in, it was the Wild West. We had like no red tape. We could do whatever we wanted. They've changed that a little bit.
Really? What are the big changes since then?
So we used to be able to attach 3+ units and still go by ADU guidelines, not multi-dwelling unit guidelines. Now, as of last August, you have to use what's considered, so standard buildings, R3. Construction that's like multi-dwelling unit is R2. So 3+ units, 3 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 un So they said, hey, you have 3 attached, you got to go R2. So that means I got to do a mechanical, electrical, plumbing, so MEP. I have to do a special permit for that, make sure that everything lines up. And then I have different spacing, fire, life safety, all these different rules. All good stuff, just additional tape, where before we were able to, I could say, hey, this building's 6 inches away from this building. Are you cool with that? And they would sign off on it. That doesn't fly anymore. So our air gap rules, all that stuff changed. And it's made it a little bit more difficult, but it's not as difficult as it is to get an apartment approved. So a lot of apartment buildings are really just ADUs that are tied together. And you're not going to see the difference. And when you go to get it appraised, if you've done more than 5, it's just a commercial loan. Goes back to that same thing we were talking about with the manufactured. What's your rent? That's what it is. It's not, oh, this is ADUs, we can't finance it. It's like, nope, these are DUs, dwelling units. Doesn't matter. And you go through, you get your loan, just a regular commercial loan. You have to give away a child in the city of San Diego to get that loan because of our cap rates, but you also get to grow your income a lot faster than most cities.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say like San Diego is, I'm bullish on it. Marcus Millichap, multifamily housing market forecast, they put out a report every year. San Diego is number 2 out of the 50 market list this year. And so that's pretty cool. I know rents are expensive here, and a lot of people say, man, San Diego is expensive. But I'm like, dude, if you look at all the major markets here in California, San Diego is still the most affordable if you consider Bay Area, Los Angeles, Orange County. And I think it's got a lot of room to grow here. So if you look at it from that standpoint, it makes sense. And, I think it's got the best beaches. It's got the best vibe. It's got the best people. And then, they really say San Diego's an island because if you think about it, to the north, you got Camp Pendleton. To the west, you got the Pacific Ocean. To the south, you got Mexican border. To the east, you got the mountain ranges. So from a supply standpoint, there's not a lot of land to build on. And so I think as more people come down here, it's only going to continue to push pricing up. Obviously, the ADUs helps with the supply, but, people aren't bombing the ADUs as much as I thought they would.
Yeah, no, it's
Why is that?
it's hard
Mm.
and it's a lot of capital. Like, you have to be able to get the money together to get it done because there's not good financing products. And 2, it's just people can't wrap their head around, like, I have an idea, I talked to somebody, I spent all this money to get it done. It's 24 to 30 months before that thing is there and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, if you've done it and you see the value of it and you get it, you're like, yeah, it's a long process. I just have to be doing my other stuff at the same time because there's just a lot of red tape and a lot of bureaucracy. But I also laugh at people when they say that's a long time. And I'm like, you didn't build apartments. We used to just get beat up, like just problem after problem after problem. And yeah, it's a huge opening. We're seeing a lot of opportunity, but still, we need 12,000 units a year right now to meet our housing needs. That's our
Just here in
growth.
San Diego alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
We get
For how many years?
we've needed that since 2006.
Wow.
And we have never gone over 6,500 units. And that was last year. We did 6,500. We're generally around 3,000. So we're way behind on housing. I think to the tune of like 65,000 units is what the regional housing needs allocation budget says. So you can keep building. It's there. We still need, we have Chula Vista coming. That's going to bring a lot of jobs. We have Horton Plaza bringing a lot of jobs. We have Apple buying all this property and putting in their locations. We have Amazon putting in their locations. We need housing. So it's going to keep coming.
If you love real estate investing, passive income, and tax benefits, but don't have the time, my company, Summers Capital, is buying boutique hotels right now. We source the deals, we renovate the properties, and we even handle all the day-to-day management, making it truly hands-off for our investors. If you want to learn more to see if we can help you, visit summerscapital.com/invest to book a call with our team. Again, that's summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show.
Yeah, what's going on? What's the latest with the sports arena project? I heard they might be putting an NBA arena out there and potentially doing housing.
Yeah, so there's a combination from what I saw from the last request for proposal from the city is the arena, the shopping, and then the mixed-use housing. So it's going to be a combination of all of that over several blocks. So it actually spreads further in each direction from the sports arena. And additionally, this is interesting, is if you follow it all the way up, I believe it's India that ends up crossing the freeway and running alongside the other side of the freeway over there out of Little Italy, all the way up India until it gets to that bridge at Little Italy. That's all part of the sports arena project.
Really?
So that whole front, you've probably seen like some of those like old school car dealerships, dogs places, all those start selling. They're going to be able to put some big buildings right there.
Wow.
So
are you bullish on buying real estate out towards sports arena, maybe even Ocean Beach?
yeah, no, definitely bullish on it. I like that area. I think there's a lot of change. I want to see how far out it is. So I think it's a 10-year play. It's not a 5-year play right now. And I'm not doing too many 10-year plays that aren't like builded to refinance. So I have some stuff over there. I actually sold some stuff, and then I'm actually reselling it for somebody else now. I sold it to them and they permitted it, and now I'm selling it for them.
Oh, wow.
So
so you're active as an agent too?
yeah, so I'm a whole sales team.
Got it.
I still do deals.
Do you have an online community as well, teaching people how to do the ADU stuff?
So we just do the cheat codes, and then we do
What's that?
So real estate cheat codes. It's twice a month. We go out to different projects, do walkthroughs, teach people about like what we're doing. So we're doing like a 5-unit ADU build in South Park next week, and then we're doing my pocket community at the end of the month. So we go walk through all those different processes.
Is that a paid community? Or
So
free?
it's a ticketed event each
Ticket event. Okay, got it.
So we are launching a community, but we're in the process right now. I'm actually going to start taking start to finish investors once a week through projects that are actually under construction, and like showing them the process, and then teaching, and then doing a breakout after of like other people's current projects.
Yeah.
So
I love that, dude. So I'm curious, you already mentioned that one of the exit strategies is to get the permits, so buy the land, get the permits, or buy the single family house, get the permits to build 8 ADUs or whatever it might be. And then you could look to, enter the marketplace and sell for a nice profit without having to do any of the work. Are you seeing a lot of those deals trade with the permits in hand, or are you seeing most of these deals are not trading with the permits in hand, and then that seller ends up just doing the build out themselves?
I'd say it's like 40% trades.
Really?
With permits.
So it's close to 50-50.
Yeah, and the other 60% comes out of the ground by the person that had the plan. We always had a strategy of trying to sell at permit just to see if we could get a number that made sense.
You might as well throw out a number.
Yeah,
right?
It's like everything's for sale if you pay me a certain price.
Yes.
So that's just life. So when those opportunities came up, we'd give it a shot. But there's sometimes, we put a number out there, no one's going to pay it, but if someone will.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Have you thrown some crazy numbers out there? You're like, no one's going to buy it, and then someone buys it?
dude, I had one project in Pacific Beach. I threw up for like a dream number, and I remember I had, I think, 57 calls on it in the first 12 hours, and ended up over list that night and sold it.
Wow.
And it was, I bought it for 800. I permitted it. It was a year later, and I sold it for 1.5. And I had cash floated the entire time too.
Really?
And great project. I actually wish I had built it in the end, just because I loved the project. But they gave us the number that made sense, and we were like, yeah, we'll sell it to you. The crazy thing is how many people wanted it. I was blown away.
What was your list price? You sold it for 1.5.
We came in at 145. We sold, I think it was 1525 is what we sold at. And I accepted it that night because it was just, the guy came in with like bulletproof terms.
Yeah. He was like, we need to lock this up right now.
Yeah. We turned like a couple levers, and I think it was on Valentine's Day, and I was taking the call, and I was like, send it back with this and I'll sign it now.
Yeah.
And like, I got a text. He's like, it's in your inbox. And I was like, cool. I
Damn.
sent it out. I was like, sign it. Let's do it.
And what was that build out? How many units was it?
So there was 3 custom homes. I bought a house that was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and then a garage. I would have done this completely differently now. If there was so much more value there, I could have untapped, but it was right there on Riviera in Pacific Beach. And it was a killer project. We got it through discretionary, got city approval, moved it to construction docs, and then sold it.
Wow.
So,
and what's the ARV on that thing once it was all built out?
that thing, when it was all done at that time, I believe was 4.5. Right now it's over 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive, dude.
Yeah. That was a few years ago.
Yeah. So, what's the latest play here based on some of these changes, and we know a lot of the regulations are fluid here. But what do you think the best play is now in the ADU space here locally in San Diego? If you could do anything, any project you wanted.
So I'll say what I think the play isn't and then what I think it is. I don't think it's studios and one bedrooms. That's why I don't think it is. Just because we have so many coming on market. I think, and I don't have a crystal ball, and I wish I did on this one because I'd go really long on it. Owning individual quality units on single family lots that can be subdivided in the future, I think is going to be a real cash cow. Because if you can build that, 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a nice neighborhood and position it appropriately so it can be 2 properties and it's not unusual. Now, instead of having something that's going to add, $500,000 to your value of the property because it's rental, maybe it's worth 1 million, 1.2 million, and you're just going to go through and use AB 1033 to split that lot and sell it out separate. So now you can essentially buy your property, you're into it, you build this unit, you sell that out. You can take that cash, move it to another property, 1031 it, or you can buy off that property and just keep doing it.
What exactly is AB 1033?
So that is the ability from the state of California said, hey, we're going to allow you to actually sell these ADUs as individual units, but we're not going to tell you how to do that. So the civil engineers, the mapping departments, all that, they have to come up with a guideline. So we all remember when they would take apartment buildings and condo map them. The big thing with that is like, where's the gas line? Where's the water line? Where's your access points? Who has rights to this? Who has rights to that? Because when it's a apartment, everyone can walk everywhere. If your gas line breaks, like, hey, I got to get in and fix my gas line. I own the whole building. So if you have a condo, it's like, hey, where's that pass through? Okay, is it protected? Is it fire rated? All that stuff. So if you build with the plan of, I might subdivide this later, you can design it appropriately to be able to do that. Now, there's people that want to go buy buildings and use this for existing buildings to almost condo map again. I don't think that's the play if you don't understand condo mapping, because you could get stuck with like, hey, that's great. You have to move this gas line, do this, and that's going to be 400 grand. And now you're like, oh, all my profits baked into like a repair that you can't see. So planning with that site in mind in buying, like Claremont, Bayho, great neighborhoods where 1,200 square feet's worth a lot. If you can say, hey, here's a single family home with a backyard and it has its own little garage and all this jazz, awesome, perfect. And then the next thing is, if you build it right, you subdivide it, you're limited to 1,200 square feet. Well, if I design it where I can add more square footage onto the home after, now I can even build it out further, because now it's not an ADU, it's its own unit. Now I'm going to build it out, I'm going to add the garage, I'm going to do all these things. And now maybe I have a $2 million home instead of a $1.2 million home. So that's a long play and it's a risk, but I don't see them not allowing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about what you wouldn't do, like the studios and the 1-bedrooms, it's interesting that they're bringing a lot of new studios and 1-bedrooms here in San Diego. Also, the other thing is, I think just generally speaking with a lot of markets, you do a lot of studios, 1-bedrooms, you have a little bit higher turnover versus having 2-bedrooms and 3-bedrooms, because the 2s and 3s will tend to bring in more families who tend to, renew and stay a little bit longer than studios. I think people in studios are always looking for that next thing that maybe isn't a studio. So you get a lot of turnover there, and those turnover costs can add up. If you got someone moving out every 12 months, you got your vacancy, you're going to have to shampoo carpets. There's probably going to be a little bit of deferred maintenance you got to clean up. And depending on how long it takes you to release that unit, maybe it takes you 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Well, that's 2 months of lost rent, right? And then marketing for it. So, and then you got to pay a lease up fee for these property management companies. So, it could cost you, $4,000 or $5,000, even more when you consider vacancy to turn a unit. So I like what you said there.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I've seen from owning multiple units. I hate my 1-bedrooms.
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake that you see ADU investors making?
I would say it's, one, not knowing your timelines, assuming it's going to be faster. Always assume it's going to be longer and it's going to cost more. Number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It takes longer, costs more.
So have your contingency capital there.
Yeah. And then don't build shitty unit. Like, take a little bit of time or work with somebody that's done a lot of units so you can have good spatial layout. Because, guys will come in, they'll be like, hey, we'll just make this room a 9x9. A 9x9 room, you're not going to rent as easy as a 10x11. And it's a big difference. It's not like, oh, they appreciate it, that's a foot. No, it feels like a completely different room. So I think just really understanding and like, I had a 180 square foot unit that I had at one point that I like rented out. I found the perfect renter for that. I don't think that renter exists anywhere else. She was awesome. She loved the unit. These guys popping out, 200 square foot units and putting 20 of them together. I'm like, that's going to be a problem. It's going to turn over a lot. It's going to be a problem as far as selling it. It's a nightmare. So good spatially aware units, paying attention to the fact that like, yeah, we need new units, but like we need good units. Like you can't just, no one wants to really live in a box. If you give them somewhere they can live, like my goal is people stay 2.5 to 4 years. That's like a perfect amount of time where my turnover is good. They've taken care of the unit generally more than someone that stays 12 months. And they actually appreciate the unit. And if I can get 1 to 2 price increases out of an existing tenant, that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I hear you with the projects going over timeline and often going over the budget. Same, that's our biggest risk with the boutique hotel renovations. The same exact thing. And so we always preach like, man, like make sure you got at least 20 to 25% contingency capital for change orders, or if the project goes over timeline, because most of these projects do. And in the event that you don't need the contingency money, it's like, okay, cool, that's great. You can always return that to investors, or, you can keep that in the project. But I think that's number one. And then what you said about the design, I think that's huge. I always say, like, when we do these renovations, especially with the hotels, I'm like, dude, I don't want to do 90% of the design and then cut corners for the last 10%. I'm like, guys, let's just spend the extra 30 grand, 40 grand. Like when we did the launch for Hotels in Dell here, we were getting down to the final like stages, and I didn't like the way some of the finishes were looking. And I made a tough call, but I think it was the right call. I said, guys, we're going to have a lot of change orders right now. I made like $50,000 worth of change orders, and I delayed the project another 2 weeks from the grand opening because I just didn't like the way the design element was going. I didn't like certain light fixtures that we had, already bought and installed, a lot of different things. And I ended up putting wainscoting in all the hallways. We ended up getting more custom wall art, swapping out all the lighting fixtures. We ended up doing ceiling fans in all the rooms, and it was like $50K in change orders, and delayed the project a couple weeks. So it cost us money. But what the other side of the argument is this, or the other side of the coin is, that $50,000 that we spent could very well lead to an extra, 10% in occupancy year round. It could lead to an extra $15, $20 in ADR, average daily rate, year round, and across 365 days a year and 24 units in a market like this with low cap rates. That could be the difference of, $1.2 million in refinance valuation when we got a refi. And that's a nice chunk of change for the investors. And so, yeah, it sucked to delay it, but that was a tough decision. And but I made that hard call, and I said, let's do it right. I don't want to cut corners or put something out there that's, not quite 100% of what my vision was. And lastly, it's like, I think as an operator, in this applies to any commercial real estate, not just boutique hotels. It's like, you as the operator, you're putting your brand out there, right? So your investors are going to see this. All the guests that come and stay at your properties, they're going to see this. And so, you hit that design right, it's going to compound. It's going to help you raise capital for future deals and all that sort of thing. So if you miss on it, that's not going to help your future. So, at the end of the day, you really got to be thinking about the big picture, and you got to play the long game.
Yeah, and it's easier to make a change before you open than after.
Oh, yeah. Once you open, you're fine. You're not going to do it.
You're going to, now you're going to lower your rates because you're going to have problems with people staying there. You're going to get complaints. It's going to hurt your reviews. And so it's going to cost more, even if it's the same cost. It just costs more.
Absolutely.
So, and you only get to show everybody your product for the first time once.
100%. And first impressions, everything.
Everything.
And you apply that to everything in life. It's not just real estate, but it's business, it's dating, it's everything. First impression is literally everything. So I think it's good to get it right. And that's why I believe, I'm like, man, let's not do 90% of the project and go cheap on the last 10%. Because, in all reality, I do see some of these projects that are flips and they're on the market. You walk through and you're like, dude, this is, they cut some corners here. You can tell.
Yeah, like this is rough.
Yeah. What's your thoughts with the design element for like the ADU stuff that you're doing? Because obviously hotel is a little bit different, right? We want to put in nice finishes and we want to have the nicest experience possible for the guests. That's kind of the look that we're going for. But if you're doing ADUs in markets that are more workforce housing type of stuff, what's your business plan there in terms of best practice for the finishes?
Yeah, so we use all the same finishes across all of our properties right now. So the nice thing is we got a designer create it. It looks nicer than the neighborhood, but it's only, 10% more, maybe. And our big thing is like LVP. We want good LVP because we don't do any carpet at all. We want really durable floors because floors always come back to haunt you. And then we just make sure we have the same toilets, the same sink fixtures, the same sconces, all of that, because it doesn't affect us as much in that marketplace where we don't have to have like a different experience in every room. That's definitely a hotel thing that we don't have to deal with. And the other thing for us too is if we do the same units over and over again, so I've built the same building twice, so just different locations. When we go to list it, it's the same photos for it, and we only take 2 sets of photos, but all the units are the exact same. So it's easier for us to market. Somebody likes it, like, oh, I like that unit. Well, that one went, but I have one coming. It's exactly the same to the T as that one, but it's 2 doors down. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll get on the wait list for that one. So it allows us that. But honestly, I am not the design guy.
Yeah.
I hire the design people, and they're really good at it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, if I design it, it's ugly.
Yeah, I oddly like design and kind of being the creative. If I wasn't doing everything that I'm doing, I wouldn't mind getting in and designing a whole property, but it consumes a lot of time. So yeah, we work with designers as well. It makes your job a lot easier. I even when I moved into my place, it's like a 2-bedroom high-rise apartment, and I hired a designer, and she just did everything. So I just don't have the time, dude.
They just tie it together.
Yeah.
They make it, they put like a little thing, and you're like, oh, that's freaking awesome. Like, that looks great. I would have never even thought to do that.
It's great, and like people walk in, they're like, damn, Rich, you've got all these furnishings and everything. I'm like, no, it wasn't me, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So play wise, I guess for the listeners out there that maybe they're hearing this and maybe they don't live in San Diego, maybe they live in another state, and they're like, hey, I really want to get in the ADU space. Is this something that someone can do from out of state?
Like invest here from out of state?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you definitely could. You just got to get with the right operators.
Do you know anyone doing that?
I've done it in the past, but truthfully, I do a lot of it in-house now.
Okay.
So less people is better.
Yeah. Less hands on the pot.
Yeah, we'll do more bigger projects here soon, but right now we've actually really tightened it down and just gone with a couple family offices, which has been nice. But yeah, there's people out here doing it. I would say find out who's doing it through reaching out to networks. If you reach out to me, I can guide you towards people doing it, or tie you in with people. There's groups that will actually take the process end to end too, like architectural teams, stuff like that. They can actually go from, can you build something to it's built, all in suite. It just really depends on, like, there's different price points for that. It's just like, a hotel is, you can stay at the Motel 6 or you can stay at the Ritz-Carlton. You can sleep in both of them, but which one are you trying to get? So, yeah, there's syndications, there's stuff like that. I've done several syndications over the years. You've done syndications over the years. Right now, people I'd recommend in San Diego, I'd probably keep that close to the vest until I talk to somebody and see what they really want. Because I could tell them somebody I really like, and it's totally the opposite of their personality, and not tell them another person that was actually their personality.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and it's really, these are the 2 plays that I've been bullish on. I think they are the two best real estate plays right now. And this is my personal opinion, but I think it's the ADU play, building ADUs and developing stuff in expensive markets to where you can pocket on the Delta, and then buying boutique hotels from mom and pop sellers and in good locations to where we can take an underperforming property, renovate it, add a lot of value, implement some good marketing, and really force a lot of appreciation. So, in all honesty, right now with the rate environment that we're in, you're not going to bank on short-term appreciation organically. And so, for me to buy a deal right now, it's not going to be turnkey. You maybe could get away. People were getting away with that, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But right now in this environment, I need to be able to buy at a discount, and I need to be able to add tremendous value. And what's the best way to do that is, buy a property to where you can build ADUs and buying these boutique hotels from these retiring mom and pop sellers. So I think those are my two favorite plays. I do have a couple ADU projects that I own personally.
Nice.
And actually, I'm curious. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So one is a Airbnb property that I've owned since 2020, and it's in Linda Vista. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family house. We rent that as its own individual Airbnb, and then it's got a 2-car garage to the side of it. That's a separate structure. Above the 2-car garage is an ADU. It's a studio, and then above the studio is a rooftop deck. So it's kind of it's a really nice studio. It's got its own personal rooftop deck. It's a separate structure away from the house, and from the rooftop deck, you got peak views of the ocean, which is really badass. And below it, and that's a separate Airbnb. So it's 2 listings, 1 lot, 2 separate addresses right now. And then that 2-car garage, I just got the permits like 5 months ago to build that out to a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. And so I made the call. We were going to do the build out in like January, February. And, our contractor got busy. I got busy. We were doing a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just do it after the summer season. So we were going to look to do it kind of like around November, December. But I wanted to ask your thoughts. How long are these permits good for? And if they expire, is there anything I can do to get them back quickly?
So as they go to expire, you have to do a renewal. I don't know on the ADU permit, but you can usually get extensions. I believe you're 12 months on an ADU permit from pre-con meeting to finish. Pre-con, you have to order your pre-con within 12 months. So
what is pre-con?
they come out and they tell you, like, it's funny. They do it with me still. And I'm like, guys, I know exactly what you want. I've done a lot of these. So, but like, you can ask them certain questions. Like if you have a complicated like street connection, you can be like, how do you want us to actually do this? Like, can you confirm you're okay with what's on the plan? Because the funny thing is what's on the plans and what you have to do don't always match, which blows my mind still, even though I deal with it. So you should be good for 12 months. And that one would be, I would really think midterm rental, like travel nurse for that bottom unit, because you can't Airbnb it because it's it's a ADU.
So I do know a workaround.
I know there's a workaround on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to say that.
Yeah, I'll tell all the secrets. And so we'll see. I haven't looked into it. I haven't confirmed it with legal counsel, but I do know some people that are, doing it out here in San Diego, and they're like, oh, this works just fine. So basically what they do is they do a long-term lease with the ADU to a long-term tenant. That long-term person could be, I don't know, someone they know personally, and then that person just subleases it as an Airbnb. So I don't know. I know some people that do that, and they say it works fine. I haven't confirmed it with legal counsel, but they say the way that the verbiage is, it's perfectly legal.
Yeah, that's the workaround.
Okay. I like it. That's the ADU STR Airbnb loophole.
Yeah.
Okay. We might have to trademark that. Okay, so I got 12 months initially, and then relatively easy to get another 12 months, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's just check with whoever did your permits to make sure you don't need like 30 days before your 12 months to actually process.
I see. Okay.
So it's not like
got it.
Everything at the city, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
So just make sure it's in.
And then I got another one actually here in Lida, Italy. I bought it last August with Tommy, who's on my team. We're 50-50 partners on that deal, but it's a old building. It's like 120 years old. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It was zoned commercial, mixed use. And the lady was living there, and she was operating like a attorney, like law firm out of there. She had like 4 or 5 employees, and she was running this law firm out of there and living there. So it was interesting, but owned it since the 80s. And she was like, hey, I'm retiring, sell this thing. And so we bought it. She actually seller financed a little bit of it, and then we got a hard money loan on the front end, and then she carried some paper in second, and so we were able to get in for very little money down, and we renovated the whole main house, and it's operating as a short-term rental right now. It's doing a lot better than I thought. It's getting like $700-800 a night on weekends, which I didn't even expect that. So that was cool. I think a lot of it is because in Lida, Italy, there's a lot of like 1- and 2-bedroom condos. But there's not really any 3-bedroom single families. I don't know of any.
I can't think of any.
So we're like a very rare 3-bedroom Airbnb where you have your own space. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, that said, it's historic. So the permitting, I was told by our guy that we're using is a little bit longer than normal. But we had a civil engineer come out, and they said that the big, because I said I want to do the biggest ADU we can do, like let's do the biggest wow factor, and so they said we can do a 2-story ADU with a 3rd-story rooftop deck that has some peak views, which is pretty cool, but it's gonna be 2-bed, 2-bath. With a big kitchen and like a really cool staircase going up. So it's going to have like tall ceilings and like an open floor plan. So excited to kind of see what that, how this comes to fruition. It's going to be like probably another 12 to 18 months before permits are ready. And then at that time, I'll probably go bridge to bridge unless this lender wants to do something and then do the build out. And then we'll refinance in a perm debt at that point. And maybe the ADU, STR, Airbnb loophole will still be a thing. And then now we got 2 Airbnb, 3 bedrooms on a lot. And we're going to do like a rooftop jacuzzi on that ADU.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
That'll be rad.
So we'll see.
So
yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, I'm bullish on the ADU stuff. I think this works for, someone that's doing it on a bigger scale like yourself. But, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I got a full-time career and or I got a business or I got a family and I just want to do some small stuff on the side. I think it is a lucrative play out there to where you can get in these deals and, just build an ADU in the back of the lot. It's a great way to build some equity. But, Thatch was on and he calls it like the new cash flow play.
Oh, yeah.
And what he was saying was interesting. He was saying like, because a lot of these ADUs are small square footage, but you can get max rents. He's like, you can hit the 1% rule by building these things out. And a lot of these ADUs will cash flow because you're building, to 50 cents on the dollar in terms of what they're worth.
Yeah. And you're not buying the land again.
Yeah.
You already bought the land. You have
Already
the
bought the
house
land.
on it.
Yeah.
So it's nice. You're just doing construction cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on a second time, man. I'm a big fan of everything you're doing. I got to make it out to a Brew RE meetup here soon and definitely make it out to your summer bash there on the water, dude. Where can the folks get in touch with you?
Easiest way is to shoot me a DM on Realty Entrepreneur on Instagram. I'm on there, and then that's really the easiest for most people. I mean, you can go to andrewthomascareer.com and send me a message, but like, just DM me.
There it is. The ADU guy in San Diego, my man Andrew Greer. I'm Rich Numbers listeners. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.